So, Gia, so many women of other cultures have been groomed to be a wife. So, today's topic, we're going to talk about grooming to be a wife. Is it something that we should do, something that we've not been doing? And you're a wife, so we're going to talk about it a little bit today. So, join us.
Come on, yeah. I see you, Deanna. Okay, Gia. DST, D9. Let's go, let's go, let's go. It's violets and pearls with the Delta girls. Okay. Wearing crimson and cream, call them chocolate supremes. And if you're shopping for things like popular things, they got all of the things from clothes to jewelry. It's a dream to talk about things the D9 way. It feels good to be Greek and change lives, man. It feels good to uplift, to give back and speak facts. Violets and pearls is where it's at. Come on, yeah. VMP, everybody say.
So, Gia, so many different women all over the world have been groomed to be a wife, and it's something that I think about sometimes. So I just wonder, like, as a culturally black women, do you think we're groomed to be a wife? I know I have my thoughts on it, but let's just talk about it today. So what do you think?
So I don't know. The short answer is no. I don't think that we are groomed to be a wife, because, and honestly, I don't know why, but I just think about my lineage of women.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandmother was married, but my mom was not married. She didn't get married until I became a young adult.
Mm-hmm.
And so as far as like grooming, that wasn't something that was taught or something that I saw growing up. Now, my grandma did exhibit habits of, domestication, like taking care of the household. But as far as like being in a relationship with a man and preparing for marriage and the attributes of what your contributions would look like for a successful marriage, I definitely didn't get that foundation or that exposure. I also think when you talk about like grooming or preparing, I think there's like a baseline to it. And I think that it's kind of relevant to any type of relationship when you're talking about like communication and sacrificing and compatibility, those types of things. But at the same time, I feel like relationships, marriages especially, are not cookie cutter, right? So you can't necessarily groom someone to say, okay, this is what a successful marriage looks like. You have to do A, B, C, and D, because it may not apply to all.
Right. That's
so. But from a foundational standpoint, I do think, like I said, communication, what sacrificing looks like, compatibility, being in alignment, that structure is definitely important. And I don't think that in our culture we even get that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I have been witness to other cultures preparing their girls, especially like Caucasians, like white people, preparing their daughters to be a wife or to meet a certain particular type of mate, if that's what they want to do. Marriage isn't for everybody. This is conversation is kind of geared towards people that would like to be married. But when I used to work for a company, so I was the only black person, right? Being the only black person has its perks and its non-perks for sure, but you are exposed to a lot of different things. And so I had this coworker who was pretty well-to-do, and she had 2 daughters and a son. And so she was talking about her daughter going to college and certain young men that they knew from certain families they wanted her to meet for the potential for them to have a future together, for the, because the 2 families were doing well and they want to continue that legacy, right? And so I remember her saying things like, honey, go over there and meet him, go talk to him, he's a good boy, he comes from this side of the family, go over there and this is what you need to say, introduce yourself. And she was kind of giving her pointers, right? Meanwhile, my mom is like, don't talk to no boys, don't look to no boys, go concentrate on books. And don't worry about it, And so I just was like thinking, and of course that young lady did marry into a good family. And I just wondered, like, why do we do this? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's just a question that I just wonder if we're doing ourselves a disservice by always telling the girls to stay away from. Now, the boys got a little bit more freedom, but I feel like girls are just, don't talk to no boys, keep it look straight, don't talk. Like, what? Because I remember, I remember in college, thinking back, college was a time of my life where there was the most access to a whole array of men. But a lot of us were kind of encouraged to not even deal with that. Just kind of like keep your head down, keep moving, don't make eye contact, don't be the hoe on the campus, things like that. So what do you have to say?
So my immediate thought was, from a cultural difference, where I grew up. So I grew up in a single family home. While my grandparents were married, that's one generation, above my mom. My mom was not. My mom was a single parent. And so culturally and my exposure, I saw very few families that looked like me that came from a 2-parent household, right? And so when you talk about, how you had the Caucasian mom, like encouraging her daughter, and kind of like coaching her daughter. You on the other end with being fed the exact opposite, stay away, like caution, right?
Yes.
And to me, from a cultural standpoint, we equated talking to boys as, like you said, being fast, and the number one thing, don't get pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I think that because that's what our culture was accustomed to and what we saw, it was like, okay, we need to avoid that lane by any means necessary.
Right.
And so the focus was not to turn you into a single parent,
right.
A teenage parent. So we just gonna stay away from that, as opposed to instilling what the alternative would look like in terms of the proper way.
The family.
The family structure.
Right. Guys, so much to unfold in this. Guys, so I came from a 2-parent home, but it wasn't all that great. It's like my mom was doing things as a wife, but to me she was doing too much. Like, she had a lot of the burden, a lot of the bills, and my dad was doing the best he can, but it seemed like he just had the world on his shoulders, it's just, and it's so much to unfold in that whole thing. But what was displayed to me, what a wife should be back then, I don't want that. And I came from a 2-parent home, and I don't want that type of marriage.
So then it sounds like you kind of answered part of the question, because if I'm living in a lifestyle that I don't necessarily want to teach my children to do, I'm not going to teach them to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to avoid that conversation by any means necessary, and hoping that they're really not watching, because I don't want them to take after what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that could be another reason why that effort is not put into it, because it's like, Lord, and as a parent, and I know you've heard this from your mom at least, I want you to do better than me.
Yeah.
I want you to do better than me. And it really doesn't matter what the topic is that we're talking about, whether it's like going to a better school, getting a better job, making more money, whatever it is, they just want you to be better than them.
Yeah.
And taking that into perspective, perhaps she just wanted you to be better than her and didn't know what to say.
Right.
So then just didn't say anything.
Just leave it alone. Because too, she did face teen pregnancy. Like, she was pregnant early on. We would have had an older brother that he was premature, so he didn't live. But she ended up marrying my father, and then they had my older sister, then me, and I have a little sister. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe she was, like you saying, trying to get me to not have children. But guess what? As of today, I still don't have any children. Because for so many years, I was taught, don't get pregnant. And so that was my mantra for all these years, and then too, don't mess with boys. It wasn't until I probably said before, maybe 30, when I was finally like, okay, I'm ready to be in a serious relationship with someone. But I'm 30, I was actually 30 at that point. So one side of me is like, gosh, we're doing ourselves as a disservice. I have nieces that like boys and stuff, and I can hear sometimes people tell them, don't talk to him. I said, baby, talk to him. Don't have sex with him. Right. Don't sleep with him, but get to know him. But he could possibly be a person that you could spend your life with. Now, I personally believe you probably should wait later in life, a little bit later in life, to actually get married, just so you can grow and evolve and be who you need to be and stuff. But I don't see anything wrong with teenagers having girlfriends and, you know, boy, as long as they're doing it in a respectful way.
No, I agree with that. And I have a son who's a teenager, and he's at that age where he likes girls and, you know, starting to have conversations with girls outside of just, you know, being platonic, right?
Right.
And so I'm open to that because I know that it contributes to a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Right? It not only contributes to a healthy relationship with the opposite sex, but it also contributes to an internal relationship with yourself and identifying, okay, what is it that I want, and deciding when you're ready for whatever comes next.
Right.
And so growing up, we didn't talk about boys.
Yeah.
At all. Like, when I say that,
I mean with your family.
With my family.
Okay.
Or talking, like, if I liked the boy, I didn't tell my mom.
Yeah, they had to find
out.
Like,
we didn't have
sneaking on the phone. I used to sneak on the phone all the time with boys.
Me too.
And you shouldn't have to do that. It's natural. It's natural for a teenage person to be attracted to what they're attracted to, whether you girl, boys, whatever it is. But that's like a natural way of growing up. I remember, like, God, we used to sneak and go to the movies with boys. And now we wasn't having any kind of physical. Right. It was all innocent, but we liked them. We were so attracted to them. You know, we just couldn't help ourselves. We talked about it all the time. I had a little boyfriend. I wrote his name all on the back of my clipboard one time. My dad was like, who is Jermaine? I was like, shut up. I was so embarrassed. And then when I did get a little friend, I can't remember what grade I was in. I probably was about 12 or 13. He lived in another city. You know how it is. Your friend hook you up with his, you know. And so I remember hearing us sneaking on the phone and talking because I wasn't allowed to talk to boys until, I mean, that's the thing. They didn't even give me an age. I could talk to boys on the phone, but my father was like, who is that grown man calling? Yeah, he was 12. Like, we were 12. And so, and you know, we got off the phone by 8 o'clock every day, but I just feel like a lot of times we do our community a disservice in building family. Like, that's the whole thing. We want these families. We want to have them. And it's like we just, you know, are just too much on trying to not make things happen as far as getting pregnant and stuff. But it's okay to have a relationship with somebody.
It is. And I'm thinking, like, you were talking to boys at 12 on the phone?
Girl.
I was in high school.
No, honey.
I was in high school and I couldn't talk on the phone.
I was sneaking. I was supposed to be. I remember in kindergarten, I liked this little boy named George. Like I've always liked them. Like, I don't know, like first, second, every grade I can name. So I always liked them, and I, you know, was attracted to them. And when I didn't even know what attraction was, but as I started to develop physically, you know, I didn't really know what was going on, but you know, but then it was like, really don't talk to boys, and I never got a full explanation as to why. Yeah. Like, why wouldn't I talk to him? Like, what is so terrible about him? He's a nice boy. So and then when I look at my counterparts, they're like, go talk to the boys.
Right.
Talk to them. This is what you need to say. Present yourself for certain. When my mama has never told me what to say to a man, like that's just unheard of for the most part in some black families. And I can't say all, but some.
Yeah, I don't think it may not apply to all, but definitely to the family that I know. Yeah, it definitely apply, and it also makes me wonder. You know how we always talk about, well, you don't know what you don't know, and it makes me wonder. Well, you know, was your mom treated the same way by her mom? Was my mom treated the same way? I know my mom was. Yeah. I know my mom was. And when she got that 1 inch of freedom,
she took it.
And here I came.
Woo, child. That's what she was talking about. So that's why. But you didn't do that though. Like you were old enough, and had already done with college.
I was old enough, but I mean, if we just put things out there, I definitely had my son before we got married. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was a total embarrassment for both of us because we were raised in the church, and we were doing things the right way, going to school, getting our degree, and we were being kids, and
and it happened,
and it was like, it was like a punch in the gut from the standpoint of this is what they meant. Yeah.
But you know what? Like I've said before, I knew your husband before you did. And he told me before y'all had your son that he wanted to marry you. Like he was really interested in he's like, I'm just I remember y'all would do like pretend proposals. Like I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like it was very obvious that they wanted to be together, right? So when she ended up having the baby, I don't think people that knew y'all probably wasn't all that surprised that it happened. Definitely wasn't surprised that y'all got married. So I don't know. I just feel like God doesn't make any mistakes. Everything happens for a reason. But for sure, I'm glad that you were able to find him when you did, and that you just went ahead and did it. Even though you were encouraged probably not to talk to boys in college, but you went ahead and did it. And look at y'all now, y'all thriving. Yeah, y'all are fine. So
thank God. Mm-hmm. It did evolve into a great blessing. But it was hard because like I was winging it. Yeah. Like I was winging it because I didn't talk to my mom about relationships. I didn't talk to my mom about, that particular relationship, being young and trying to figure out things. And it literally was like, I just blocked everybody out and just like, I was focused. I had tunnel vision. Yeah. Because I was determined that I wanted to be married. Like I knew that, or like you said, from a young person, I was automatically attracted to the opposite sex. Yeah. And when I say attracted, not like from a sexual standpoint, but just like, ooh, he's cute.
Yeah, like, shoot, I like him.
And like every school year, I definitely had somebody on the list that I wanted to marry. Like, me too. I knew that I wanted to be somebody's wife. And and honestly, and this sounds crazy, and maybe y'all can relate, Claire Huxtable.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
She was like epitome.
I took my notes from her. But I knew that was the lifestyle that I wanted. Mm-hmm. But I also knew that I didn't have one lick of foundation on how to do it, let alone how to do it right.
Right. Now I can tell you that even to this day, I watch the people that's been married a long time, the things that they do. I remember years ago, I was at a cookout and I was just kind of hanging out with my family and stuff. And in some kind of way, I ended up over there with the men. I don't know how, but I just ended up sitting kind of with them. And everybody's wife was fixing them a plate, like fixing plates. And I remember getting up, getting something to drink. And I was like, all y'all fixing their plates? So that didn't happen in my family. That's not something that I saw in my home. And then I asked my great aunt, I said, are you supposed to fix your man's plate? And she laughed and she was like, if you feel like it, honey, you don't have to. But when we're in public and they see other women catering to their man and he's a good man, then he deserves to have his plate fits. And so of course now in my relationships I fix my dude plates. Like it's just little nuggets and things that I've seen that I've picked up about being in a relationship, just the role of the woman in a relationship, if that's something you're interested in.
And that's another good segue, like when you talk about roles in a relationship, things that the role of a man, the role of a woman, if you're talking about traditional roles, made up roles, whatever type of roles, like that's a hard conversation too, because me and my husband, we I won't say we go back and forth, but it's definitely a hot topic in our household in terms of roles. But a lot of people feel like the household is like equally divided. Yeah. Well, I know that there is a head. Yeah. And he knows that the head also needs a neck.
Yep, got a neck.
And so, and I have absolutely no problem with him being the head, and I serve as the helper.
Yep.
You know, I have no problem with that.
Right, and I think that's how it's supposed to be. Even if it's in a non-traditional household, somebody is the head, and there's a supportive role in that too. So I just think that's how it's supposed to be. But I just wish, as a culture, we would set our young women and men up for family, if that's what you want to go, because we all need each other. And then it's nothing like having a companion, and to be able to meet that companion and to be compatible with somebody that you have similar interests with and things like that. So I just thought this was a cute little topic for today, just to see, are we grooming our girls to be wives? Are we grooming our boys to be husbands? That's a whole nother topic, grooming a man to be a husband.
Right.
So, especially in our community, because there's so many broken homes.
And that's what I was going to say. There's so many broken homes to where it's like, and I don't even want to say the word qualified, because that's a touchy, word right there. But who's in a position to really give like really good substance advice on how to prepare your young women and your young men for being the head of a household? Yeah.
I don't think there's any perfect role model, but there's certainly people in our community that's doing it. Yeah. And they can impart some of that information. Like, y'all are doing it, I'm sure your boys are watching. They see how dad treats his wife, and probably one day when they get a wife, they're gonna, imitate some of the things. Right. So I feel like children are watching, and they're just kind of, seeing, just like I was watching. And when the day comes for me, I'm gonna do some of the things that I saw that was appropriate. Of course, there's some things that I saw like, I don't think I'm participating in that. Right. So yeah, and that's the good thing about marriage too. You get to make it your own. You and your spouse get to set the expectations of what a successful and a happy marriage looks like for you. Yeah, I agree.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Okay, so let us know how you feel. Do you think that girls are being groomed to be wives, or boys are being groomed to be husbands? And what we're gonna do about this whole family unit thing that we're trying to grow, y'all? We can't. We are not becoming extinct. The black family will be around.
Right. And if you are a wife or a husband, how are you contributing to the next generation? Yeah. Are you? Do you even have an interest in it?
Yeah, and let girls talk to boys. If she's interested, as long as she's innocent, there's nothing wrong with having an interest in, in that, into, exploring that. Just as long as it's innocent. Make sure it's innocent. Don't look. One more story. I remember when my dad used to come over and hang out with my mom, and then they could only be in the living room. And all the lights had to be on, and my granny had to be there. So, hey, there's nothing wrong with going back to those days. And my grandma would say, I'm getting sleepy. And my dad used to be like, I want to say so bad, just go to sleep then. But that meant it was time for him to go. Yeah, time for him to go.
And there's also nothing wrong with meeting the friend's parents too.
Yeah. They're friends. They're friends. So, okay, y'all.
Everything does not have to have ulterior motives.
That's true. And maybe you should lay that out. I would, look, y'all can hang out, but there are some rules.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's it.
Lifetime load.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that I think about sometimes. So, want to just share that with you all. Please like and subscribe and share this video, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, bye.
Bye.